The United States just triggered a seismic shift in global trade. Court rulings and emergency powers have collided, dismantling the old tariff system and forcing a rapid transition into something entirely new. This is the tariff transition. In early 2026, the Supreme Court struck down the sweeping IEEPA-based tariffs. The administration scrambled with temporary 10% global tariffs under Section 122, but even those are now under legal attack. With the old tools collapsing, the U.S. needed a new foundation. Enter Section 301, the backbone of America's new long-term tariff architecture. The first strike, a massive forced labor investigation into 60 economies, with proposed tariffs of 10% or 12.5%, depending on enforcement. Forced labor is only the beginning. Parallel Section 301 probes target excess manufacturing capacity across 15 economies, plus country-specific cases for Brazil, China, and Vietnam. This is wave one of a system designed to stack. A country can be hit by multiple Section 301 layers at once: forced labor, excess capacity, and country-specific penalties. Brazil is the clearest example. 12.5% forced labor tariff plus 25% country-specific tariff equals a crushing 37.5%. Despite the broad scope, the U.S. is carving out strategic exemptions, especially in chemicals and plastics. These Annex II carve-outs shield system-critical feedstocks the U.S. cannot afford to disrupt. Exempt products include minerals such as fluorspar, which is critical for hydrofluoric acid, titanium ores, titanium dioxide, synthetic rutile, antimony ores, titanium oxides, cerium compounds. Regarding aromatics, benzene, toluene, silenes, phenols, olefins such as ethylene, propylene, butylene, butadiene, non-ionic surfactants, polymers such as ethylene and propylene polymers, vinyl polymers, polyacetols, and polyamides, including nylon 6, nylon 6-6, and more. The U.S. is building a new tariff architecture, layered, targeted, and designed for long-term leverage. Forced labor, excess capacity, country-specific actions, stacking, exemptions. The question now is simple. What countries will follow similar suit? Or will they allow their domestic production to be replaced by China's overcapacity? If interested to learn more about the global overcapacity scenario of the global petrochemical industry, view this video here.